From the spreads to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way. Yeah, yeah. Spreadsheet Sports, let's ride.
Welcome back to Spreadsheet Sports. We are here with another episode. NCAA on the table today. We're going to look at some of the games out of the 37 that they got here on February the 11th. Um, just a small handful. It's just some games I thought had some really good entertainment value that I think that all of us will probably be catching one or a couple of those games this evening. Um, but hopefully you enjoy the show. But first and foremost, I want to definitely thank those that have been participating and watching the channel and giving me that viewership and giving me your time and attention. That's greatly appreciated. I definitely thank those that have shared the show, and those people are now viewing and they're seeing some common interest as well. So things are moving in the right direction. But definitely, I look forward to continue to hopefully bring value to you through this particular show as we run down the games. If you're into the other side and you like the information to help you with making some type of speculative investment, feel free, knock yourself out. I love the comment section and talking about the different perspectives and the different angles that some of you may have. So, this is a safe space to talk about the game and some of the things that we all see and some of the things that we hope we can see. Um, I don't like just trying to figure out, hey, what's the game on tonight? Which one should I watch? I try to do this and then figure out which ones are worth watching to me. And it's going to be high scoring, or it's going to be a defense game, or it's going to be some rookies versus some vets, or whatever the case may be. I know it's going to heat up now as we're moving towards March with the tournament. But hopefully you guys enjoy the show today. But let's dive right in. So with these games today, um, these are the ones that I think probably have the highest probability of going in the favor of these teams, just for a variety of different reasons. One of them is obviously going to be that these teams do well on the road, and they do well at home. Um, they're winning. I mean, other than like Northern Illinois and Miami, those are really the only ones that, they're just not doing that well in regards to their win percentage. But the rest of the teams, win is what they do. Pepperdine is obviously on the fence also when it comes to winning. But for the most part, I think that it's as close to a slam dunk as it can be. It's going to be competitive. Like I mentioned, most of these teams are trying to get themselves ready for March and the tournament that's coming up. But this is just an idea of what we might be looking at for some of your winners that are going to be today. But for your breakdown of the actual game, I mean, you're looking at the Toledo and Miami um, game. I definitely like, mainly because with this particular game, Miami's coming in, they win well at home. They actually are doing well in most of the categories as it relates to like the offensive points, defensive points allowed, three point attempts. That the shooting percentage is good. They're just doing well as a team. So I think that they may be able to pull this out. Just for a combination of all of those things. The math itself is even just saying that it will in fact be in the favor of Miami, but math could always be wrong. It's just always something or a trap door that we don't see as we are, looking at these games at face value. But that's what I'm looking at for the Miami game. For the Purdue and the Michigan game, we probably look. I'm going to lean more towards Michigan. It's going to be an entertaining game to watch, mainly because I get to see which way it might go, and if I'm wrong. If it is wrong, then it gives me a different way to look at the game. But as it stands right now, Michigan's coming in with a much better win percentage than Purdue is on the road. Purdue sucks on the road, but Michigan, they've already won what 18 games, and on top of that, they win whenever they're home. Like I wouldn't want to be Purdue going into that Lions Den. I mean, even when it comes down to a little bit more with the Big Ten, these guys are doing pretty well. I mean, it's almost as well like you see how I have both of them performance wise, kind of neck and neck, Purdue and Michigan when it comes to the ranking of performance, not record, but ranking of performance in their individual conference in the Big Ten. They kind of like right there midway to the bottom. But I still think we're going to see an entertaining game. I think Michigan will pull it out. They shoot better. Look like they crashed the boards a little bit better as well. So they're definitely going to be moving the ball around. But I think that's what we're going to see to get tonight with this game at 7 o'clock. And then our last game that we're looking at is the Pittsburgh and SMU game, right? And with the Pittsburgh and SMU game, I'm just going to say that it's probably going to be SMU. I'm thinking SMU. And that's just because, again, I'm going to start with SMU wins at home. Okay. And with that being said, they're up against a team that's struggling a little bit, right? Pittsburgh has its challenges, but they're not going to lay down. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be highly competitive. Could Pittsburgh pull this game out? Maybe. But that makes it all that interesting for the watching the game, right? So we don't know the answer, but other than that, SMU is just every category they're better. Whether you're looking at the individual number or you're looking at the ranking for these categories, ACC is a tough conference as well. So they battle tested here, but again, you almost got like the Purdue and Michigan game where both of these teams are kind of towards the bottom battling. Um, so that's something to take into account as well. We're not talking about the number one, number two, number three ACC candidates. We're talking about somebody at the bottom that's battling to try to make some headway. But we'll see what happens. But if you think that I'm not spot on or I'm close, let me know in the comment section. I mean, I definitely would want to know what your perspective is about at least these three games, or even the ones I've selected to possibly win for the day. So let me know when we look at whether or not these teams are going to dominate or not. I mean, that's going to be connected to the spreads and domination or either surviving, right? Because some of these games isn't about like the favorite person to win. Some of them are the one that we don't see coming, right? So some games I'm thinking that possibly might be a nail biter or just, either going to go the way we all think they are is going to be Ball State. We're looking at Miami. We're looking at SMU and we're looking at Utah State. Those are games I think that are going to be highly dominant, and these teams are going to come in and do what they do, right? Ball State they have their challenges at winning at home, so that's where it might get a little risky. Um, they won 11 games, right? They lost 12. So would I go that route and really be like, oh, okay, it's not a game worth watching because Ball State going to win? I don't know. Um, I think it's going to be one of those games where if Ball State wins, then Ball State's going to win, and they're going to score at least 5 to 8 points more than the other team. Um, Same thing comes with the Miami game. They do very well at home. They win all their games at home. They're that much better than their competitor with this particular game, and they are dominant in all categories. Same thing with Ball State. They're dominant in all the categories. Why wouldn't they win? They should, right? But they just suck at home. That part scares me for them. For the SMU game, we talked about that, when we were looking at the other games and so forth. So this just reiterates, I think they're going to come in and do what they do well. They win very good when they're at home. Same thing goes with Utah State. They win at home. They win better at home than the team is that they're playing wins on the road. They've won 21 games. They're knocking everything out of the park with all the categories: 3 point, assists, rebounds, moving the ball around, everything. They do pretty much everything as good as they possibly can, or at least better than their competitor. Um, I like them to cover the spread on this game. Again, it's not a betting channel. If you're into betting, I'm just giving you a perspective. I don't know if it's the right one or not, but you tell me. I mean, if you think otherwise, just tell me in the comments, and then that way I can look at it. And when I sit down to watch the game, it is something that'll be on the front of my mind, because everybody's opinion is valid. So it's just one of those things. Now, for the other side of it, I like Richmond. I like Kentucky. I like Pepperdine to kind of upset. I really do. I really do. And not only were they upset, I think that they're going to score. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be down to like a 1 point game. I don't think that Richmond is just going to win 71-7. I think it's going to be something different than that. Same thing with Kentucky. I don't think it's 74-73. And I don't think that Pepperdine is going to win 77-76. I think it's going to be something different. I think we're going to see a different game. These teams are very good at what they do. So I just look for them to kind of control the momentum, um, take advantage where the other team makes mistakes, um, get the crowd involved, because these are all teams that are playing at home. So obviously they have home field advantage. The crowd is involved. They're already a good team. Things just going in their way. Um, I don't know. I mean, again, it could be completely wrong, but I think it's definitely going to have some entertainment value, and I think we all will enjoy watching these particular games and see which way they go. So here's the thing about these two games. This is what I would consider the needle in the haystack of like a really highly competitive game. This is an 8 o'clock game and a 9 o'clock game. Arizona, Kansas State, Connecticut, and Brighton. I think we're going to get our time's worth with watching this particular game. I mean, I like it just for the fact of not knowing which way to go. I hate sitting down and watching the game when I'm like, oh, yeah, they're going to win. Like, well, what's the point of watching it? I want to see a highly competitive match. I think this is the game that there's some dogs in this particular game, right? I'm leaning towards Arizona and I'm leaning towards Connecticut, first and foremost. Okay. Now, the reason I'm leaning towards Arizona is going to really come down to looking at who they are, what they do, how they do it, what opportunities are there. I think Arizona's going to win, but Kansas ain't going to go away quietly either. Even though Kansas may not be doing well in all the categories, they have won 12 games, but they also lost 11. But I also like them performance wise. Kansas State actually is better than Arizona when it comes to performance. Not record. Let's not confuse records with performance. You'll hear me talk about teams and rankings. Just always know when I'm talking about rankings, conference rankings or team rankings, I'm talking about performance. I'm not the guy that is like, oh, well, they won all these games. They got to be great. That doesn't mean anything to me. There's so many different circumstances that have nothing to do with the player's performance or the team's performance or the coach in regards to did they win or did they not. Like, especially when we're talking about college, you just got to think common sense wise. Like these young men, and if we're watching the young ladies for NCAA, these college students, they're dealing with real life too, right? They're not as insulated as a professional athlete. So they also not only are they not insulated, but they're also dealing with real life stuff of being an actual student. With those two things in mind, I mean, the coaching and the organization, they do their best to isolate and insulate if they can, but these young men and women also do have a college life. That's why they call student athletes. They're not just there as an athlete. They still go to class. They still have papers to do. They still are trying to study for a test, or they still have a paper to write. They might have got bad news on some grades, or it's so many different life things that deal with them that will affect their state of play. Right. With that being said, you can't always just go by the stats. You got to take into consideration that. And there's no real way of looking at that data and say, well, who's having a bad day with school? We don't get their grades. We don't know what's going on from that perspective. But going back to the game, I think Arizona wins this game. Um, they're favored, but I think it's going to be a nail biter. I'm not sure for the people that do bet. Again, I'm not giving you betting advice, but I just don't see Arizona covering the spread. Maybe they win, right? But I just don't know. I think it's that nail biter. I think it might be 75, 74, 79, 78 buzzer beater. I think we might see that. Because again, Kansas State does well on the road, right? The other game, Connecticut and Creighton, or Creighton. I may have said that incorrectly. Don't butcher me for getting that incorrect. I apologize if I did. But this Connecticut and Creighton or Crichton, here's the thing. Obviously, I'm going with Connecticut, but if it was a neutral site, I don't, I don't buck the system. But the fact that that Connecticut is coming to this game and they are on a rampage when it comes to winning on the road, like it's hard to win on the road. But not only is it, they not only do they do it well, they do it very well on the road. They're coming in and they're a better team than Creighton or Crichton. Okay. They also have all the categories knocked out. Points, except for defense. This is looking like Creighton may be a better defensive team than Connecticut. We'll see what that's going to look like. But when it comes to moving the ball around, taking threes, making threes, um, even just regular shots, I see them crashing the boards. I see them moving the ball around. I just see them being more aggressive and more athletic just from their past performances. Um, but the other side of the argument is that Creighton is, in my opinion, a better ranked team. They're just not a better ranked in the conference. So we'll see. This is one of those up in the air coin tosses, but um, I'm not sure, what we may see with this game. This one might be a nail biter all the way down to the end, but hopefully we'll enjoy watching this particular game and see what happens. I think we got ourselves a group of interesting games to watch tonight if you're watching any of the games. I think the entertainment value is going to be there. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it could be all over the place, or it could in fact be what we think it's going to be. But either way, I think that we'll be in the right place at the right time, sitting in our favorite chair, nice and relaxed, and watching and seeing what's going to happen. So, hope you guys enjoy the game. Hopefully, I enjoy the game as well, or at least the one that I have selected. If you guys came across some other good games that you watched, feel free to throw them in the comment section, or some of the other games that you would like to watch that I didn't talk about. Please share it with me, because I'd love to turn the channel on and watch the same game, and maybe I get just as entertained as you may be as well. But anyway, hope you guys have a great evening. If you found value in today's show, make sure to like, comment, or share. And please subscribe so that you can get notifications about the show as it unfolds. And I will catch you guys on tomorrow.
We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way. Yeah, yeah. Spreadsheet sports, let's ride. Breaking the odds, feeling the vibe. We're all in, no doubts, no fear.